just a little background about myself. I'm an Anglican priest, but more in the missionary mode. I kind of refer to myself as right now kind of a metro and media missionary, so that really my vision is wider than just, property and programs of one church. It really is to connect, to the larger community, and particularly, to marshal some of the resources and some of the talents, in the Christian community. We can be a blessing, and we need to be the salt of the earth, the light of the world. Jesus talks about that. And in some ways, we've been kind of myopic, kind of focused on just, our own property, our own programs. But we really want to go way beyond that and be a blessing to this city, to the suburbs, to messages that are really refreshing and needed, throughout the, kind of a, there's a worldview today that's, doesn't really, wants to eliminate the God stories and the, faith stories. So we want to include those, although we don't want to exclusively just have it all about faith and God. We want, to be part of the culture generally and be enriching the culture as a whole. So that's part of what I'm about. My wife, Teresa, we've been married for 36 years now, and 5 kids, 1 grandchild. The grandchild's in San Francisco, way too far away. But it was about 7, 8 years ago that I was kind of launched out into a more general ministry, and so it's, I don't have the support of any particular one church or, one group of people. It's, it's a pretty general outreach and general ministry, so we hope to do some good.
My involvement with Look Up Detroit started about 4 years ago. I was backpacking through Europe, and I stopped in at an internet cafe, and I had an email from this guy named Father Richard Dalton, and he wanted to meet me because I was working with a tool called Joomla, which is a web design tool for making websites. He wanted to make a website, and he was looking for local expertise to help out with it. And at the time, I was just figuring it out. And I was like, all right, whatever, when I get back, me and you will get together. And in some ways, the rest is history.
I originally put a website up. It's an interesting thing. It was kind of landed in my lap, and it was a website that just highlighted, Detroit area ministries, and some folks that were doing some good outreach, particularly in the inner city. And I saw the response I got to that, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be good to do something a little wider, for a little wider audience, not something just for the Christian community, but for the general community, but that would include that kind of outreach, so that under service and nonprofits, you'd have those stories. Under faith and fellowship, you'd have those stories, but you'd also have things on the culture, on, metro area history, on business, so, sometimes the church folks get myopic. They get kind of fit in a little corner. But in reality, we're not in a corner. We're in all sorts of fields. We have all sorts of interests, And so this website is there to be a platform for them, but also for the general community. We're not looking just for Christians to write or to produce videos, but we're not highlighting the casinos, or we're not highlighting the bars. We're family friendly, something that would be good for kids, but we're really inviting the whole community into it.
Well, I run a ministry called Elevate Detroit, and what that is a group of churches, about 40 or so different churches and organizations that work together to reach out in love to the community.
Well, I have my own personal ministry where I just kind of connect to churches and people and, try to make a difference. I work with ex-offenders, work with, kids and inner city stuff, so that's, but a big part of what I really think needs to be done is connecting city and suburbs and, letting unbelievers in on, the platform of, that's informed by a Christian worldview.
These community barbecues, and the idea is quite simply a community barbecue. Just like if any of us were going to have a barbecue in our backyard or in the park down the street in our neighborhood, and we were going to invite a bunch of our friends, and we'd say, hey, you know, bring a dish to pass, bring some food to share, and everybody would just come and hang out. And if somebody couldn't afford to bring food, they wouldn't think twice about whether or not they should come. They would just come anyways, because they would know nobody would care about whether or not they brought food. And nobody comes to a barbecue like that because you have hot dogs or because you have hamburgers. You come for the relationships, you come for the friendships, you come to receive love and to give love. You come to, you know, for friendships. And so that's what we try and do here. And that's been going for about 4 years now.
Well, it's gotten a lot of people in touch with God, and it helps people, those who need food. And it's good for kids, because I mean, they bring things out for kids to do. And like me, you know, even though I don't expect it, they, you know, give her milk and stuff like that. So she has fun.
But you know, I'm a lovable guy, but I love Detroit. I love what everybody's doing here. That's God's blessing. You know what I'm saying? Always got to give God the credit, for real. Always. That's always.
We go to Greater Grace, and we do things down there in the other church. And it was about a year ago, and we came up here, and we just sat and talked to a lot of people, gave out food and clothes, and they did too.
What they do is beautiful. It's God's blessing, for real. These people come down here, and they, you know, they barbecue and everything, hot dogs, hamburgers. That's beautiful. That's God's blessing. It really is. But you know what? Everybody think that the water comes from that end. The water comes from the suburbs. Oh, they drink the same water we drink. It's not like they don't. I don't know why people think that they get bottled water and we don't. No, we do. We drink the same water, you know, from the same thing, from the same area.
All ready to check out?